Quaker Meeting House. We hope you enjoyed the virtual tour.
Hi, I'm your tour guide, and over there are the meeting managers, Sue and Tony.
I'm Sue, this is Tony. We are the managers here, and we also live in an adjacent flat, so we're here most of the time. So in normal times, we have lots of different meetings for worship here each week. We have 2 meetings on a Sunday, we have early morning meetings on Mondays and Fridays, a lunchtime meeting on a Wednesday. Also lots of Quaker committees and groups meet here, so things like committees looking after the building and the finances, elders, overseers.
Before the COVID crisis came along, we used to rent out the 5 rooms that we've got here, which vary in size from very small to large, to different groups in the community. So we have small charity groups, community groups such as Women's Interfaith Group and Protest and Harmony Choir, up to other groups such as City of Edinburgh Council and Scottish Government. We very much look forward to welcoming those groups back to the Meeting House as soon as we're able to.
And of course, normally at this time of the year, we would be a fringe venue. We turn into something very different in August. This area that we're standing in now would be our pop-up cafe. The hall, which you'll see upstairs, would be our 65-seater theatre. And the whole building would be buzzing with people, with companies from all over the world, with audiences, customers for the cafe, volunteers who come here from all over the country and sometimes further afield. So it would be a very, very different atmosphere.
So as you can see, we're normally quite busy here. Now, I guess you'd like to know a little bit about the history of the building. Well, it was originally built as a chapel for the United Original Secession Church in 1865. The main floor was our present-day hall. In those days, they had a pulpit in the centre of the front wall, and there were galleries running round the back right up to the roof. Must have been absolutely freezing. The rooms, which are now the ballroom, office, library and creche, were purchased all around that time. In 1956, the building was sold to the Boys Brigade. They inserted the floor at the mid-height of the chapel to provide another upper floor meeting room. This is where we hold our meetings for worship. Quakers from South East Scotland bought the building in 1987. We remodelled the hall and meeting room and linked them with the new staircase. Quaker meetings began to be held here in 1988, but the first ever recorded Quaker meeting in Edinburgh was way back in 1655. We've been around a very long time. Let's go upstairs now and have a look around. Here we are in the hall. As you can see, it is a very big room, so we can adapt it for lots of different purposes. We also have singing groups here.
Coming home to a place they've never been. Coming home to a land they've never seen. Coming home to a family they have never known. Oh, Jock Townsend's days are coming home.
There's enough large space for large meetings and exhibition. Of course, we Quakers are well known for putting our faith into action. Some young friends have been particularly active over the past year.
Through Quaker meetings and events, I've learnt more about activism and campaigning. This has led me and several other young Quakers to join the climate strike movement, where we helped organise a strike that saw 20,000 people march through Edinburgh.
Okay, we're going through to the library now. Sorry, it's currently being redecorated, but here's how it would look normally. Looking out of the window, you can see that this is the part of an even older building, originally Major Weir's house. Major Weir was notorious, a sort of Jekyll and Hyde character who lived here in the 1600s. After his death, his house was pulled down, though a few people say his ghost still wanders around today. This is the kitchen, which is a hive of industries on Sundays. We make fresh soup, along with bread and cheese, for lunch, which we will all eat in the hall. The soup is particularly delicious. Last of all, we're going up to the meeting room. Come inside, there's a fantastic view of the old town and beyond to the Pentland Hills. This is where we hold our meeting for worship. Meetings are silent, unless someone feels deeply moved to speak. We call this giving ministry. Sometimes a few people may speak per meeting for worship, sometimes no one speaks at all.
Once a month there's an all-out worship. You can listen to a story, take part in a craft activity, or uphold the meeting in silence if you prefer. Sometimes we children read the story instead of the adult.
We're handing you over to one of the elders now, who is going to explain about what Quakers believe. It's been great having you along on the virtual tour. Goodbye.
A Quaker meeting is based on silence. In that, we seek to come nearer to each other and to God. Quakers have no ordained clergy. Each of us seeks to experience the religious life for ourselves in the company of fellow seekers. We have no one definition of God and no formal creed or statement of beliefs. However, we do believe that everyone can have direct experience of the Spirit. Something of God is expressed in everyone's life. There are 4 main testimonies by which we try to live.
Quakers believe that there is that of God in everyone. We are all equal. This inspires us to try to change the systems that cause injustice and that divide us. We actively support people who, for whatever reason, face discrimination.
Quakers believe that love is at the centre of our existence. It leads us usually to refuse active military service and instead to work creatively for peace, developing alternatives to violence at home and abroad.
Quakers try to live according to the deepest truth we know. We connect most deeply to this in the silence of worship. This means speaking the truth at all times, including to people in positions of power.
Quakers are concerned about excess and waste in our society. We want to make sure our use of natural resources is sustainable. We try to live simply and to cherish the things that really matter: the people around us, the natural world, and our experience of being in the stillness.
Here is a final word from our advices and queries. Take heed, dear friends, to the promptings of love and truth in your hearts. Trust them as the leadings of God, whose light brings us to new life.
We are a gentle and